Coming up, a look at where Iowa's spring sports stand in the Big Ten.
And later, off-season news from Hawkeye Hoops.
Hello everyone and welcome to DITV Sports in the Zone. I'm Colin Carruthers.
And I'm Joel Keller, and we're going to take a look at everything going on in Hawkeye athletics.
Well, Joel, I say we just come out that swinging ahead with the top 5 for In the Zone from this past week's plays and action. Starting off with number 5, Iowa softball taking a trip out to Madison, Wisconsin to face the Badgers. It's Sujin Berry, the plate for the Hawkeyes, getting them on the board first with his solo home run in right field. Gets them on the board in this series. You saw that one landing right in front of their bus, almost like she was trying to send the team home early in this one.
The next, we're going up to baseball. They went up north to Minnesota to play game 2 of a doubleheader. Reese Moore going way downtown out over right field. The reigning Big Ten Player of the Week extended the Hawkeye lead to 6-2 in the game Iowa would win.
Back to number 3, Iowa softball. Again, the same game. Tori Bennett a little bit later. Hawkeyes trail 4-2. Sends this one deep left field, tracking back, and that one's got a 3-run shot for Tori Bennett. Gives Iowa the lead as we take a look at that one yet again. A 5-4 extension. Iowa would still lose this one 8-7.
And back to baseball now. This is the same game as Reese Moore, but Daniel Rogers going deep with an absolute missile out to right field, 423 feet, 104 miles per hour off the bat. That would give the Hawkeyes a 5-2 lead. Iowa would win 7-6.
And Joel, I gotta just steal it right back to Iowa softball for our top play on In the Zone. This one, again, the left field just past the foul pole for a 2-run home run, giving Iowa the 7-4 lead. This one, Desiree Rivera at the plate, a huge shot there, but Iowa again still losing that game to the Badgers. Well, Iowa baseball, they went nuclear at the plate as we just saw there in our top 5 this weekend against the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Weather made this series slightly complicated, so they played game 1 on Thursday, where the Hawkeyes racked up 16 runs, but it was their ability to carry that momentum into the doubleheader on Friday that really impressed me, Joel.
Yeah, in the 2 games, Iowa collected a total of 20 runs on the day. They won game 2 of the series in shutout fashion. However, the finale in Minneapolis ended in a close 7-6 win for the Hawkeyes. The team is still in the midst of their 15-game road series as they face Bradley on Tuesday night. Bradley is struggling this season with a 3-20 record and is still looking for their first win in Missouri Valley Conference play. Flashback to just a year ago, though, the two met in Iowa City, where Iowa also won 11-6 against the Braves.
Well, Rick Keller has been very happy with the contributions in each portion of the game and hopes the team is just another way to keep the bats hot before they're heading to Northwestern this upcoming weekend. Well, now that we've seen where the Hawks stand in Big Ten, we got to see where they're at in the conference play so far.
For sure, and with a look at the Big Ten baseball standings, we've got DITV's Cole Kruger live in the studio with us.
Guys, the Iowa baseball team has been dealing this year. The Hawks sit tied at the top of the Big Ten with the UCLA Bruins. They're currently riding an 8-game conference win streak, with Iowa averaging 12 runs per game over that stretch. Now, the conference tournament is still about 2 months away, but it's never too early to keep an eye on where the team stands with the current tournament format. 12 of the 17 teams make the Big Ten Conference tournament and are split into 4 different pools here. And if the tournament would start today, I would be taking on the Indiana Hoosiers and the Purdue Boilermakers. Now, it's obviously way too early to tell. A lot of games left to be decided in this season.
Yeah, thanks. So it's never bad to get too much of a look. Yeah, I know it might be early, they say, but a lot can change in those 2 months, Joel.
Certainly can, and we got to stay on top of it. You know, you got to know where the Hawkeyes got to play to get in that top pool.
You got to know what every series means, especially with Iowa softball winning 7 of their last 8 games before this weekend. But when they went out to Madison, Wisconsin, it threw them for a big curve. The Hawkeyes were swept in their 3 games over the series. Similar to baseball, this included a doubleheader on Friday and the final game on Saturday, but Iowa showed some solid fight in each game.
Yeah, the Hawkeyes lost by a combined 5 runs in their series. In 2 of their games, Iowa had to climb back after giving up early leads. They'll hope to regroup this week before their next games this upcoming weekend versus Nebraska. And I will say, after this weekend's struggles, their series with Nebraska could be a big one.
Oh, especially with where they're at in the standings. So with that, we'll go back to Cole Krieger at the monitor wall to show us where the Big Ten standings are, this time with softball.
That's right, guys. After a tough 3-game stretch in Madison, the Hawkeyes now find themselves in the middle of the pack here in the Big Ten with a 21-12 overall record and a 3-4 record in conference play. As you guys already mentioned, Iowa hosts Nebraska in a 3-game weekend series. The Hawkeyes are 5-1 at home this season. With a good performance against the Huskers, they can find themselves ascending towards the top of the Big Ten. Back to you guys.
And then Iowa tennis this week has had a fun weekend with a win over their rival Nebraska as head coach Sasha Boros reached a new milestone. In Boros' 100th career dual win as Iowa's head coach, Iowa quickly won the doubles point over the Cornhuskers.
Well, Iowa then won all but one of their single matches. Sasha Boros said that she has been proud of how the team has continually competed and improved this entire season.
Seems like the tennis team is having a really solid start to the season this far.
Yeah, absolutely. But Cole, where does their season compare currently to the rest of the Big Ten?
As we look at the Big Ten standings, we see that the Hawkeyes are currently in 5th place in the conference standings with a record of 5-2 in conference play, 11-5 overall. Now, how the Big Ten tournament works for tennis is that the bottom 6 teams do not qualify for the tournament, with the top 4 seeds earning automatic bids to the quarterfinals. That means the Hawkeyes are currently on the outside looking in for that automatic bid. They have some key matchups in their upcoming schedule. They host USC on April 13th, and then in their season finale, they travel to Seattle, Washington to take on the Huskies on April 20th. Back to you guys.
Well, thanks, Cole. It's really interesting to see how this is going to really heat up in the tennis schedule coming up.
Yeah, they got some big games coming up, and they really want to get that bye.
Yeah, but I know winter sports are done technically, but the news just keeps on rolling in, Joel.
Yeah, and to break it down, we've got DITV's Elise Gann live in the newsroom.
Thanks, guys. Although the season has come to a close for Iowa women's basketball, Jan Jensen is already on the clock planning for next year. 6 volleyball Hawkeyes will be graduating this spring, leaving more spots available for fresh faces.
It's just different. You know, people aren't going to stick around in their systems.
6 valuable Hawkeyes will be graduating this spring, leaving more spots available for fresh faces. The Hawks have already hit the ground running with Arizona guard Jada Williams, who came to Iowa City last Friday for a visit with the Iowa women's basketball program. Williams was a key player for the Wildcats this season as she averaged 12.7 points, 3.5 rebounds, and 2.9 assists. Although Jada's spot is still up in the air, the Iowa men's basketball team has officially filled one of their blank spaces. After the hiring of new head coach Ben McCollum, things for the program are progressing, such as their limited roster. Following in the footsteps of his many teammates, freshman Cooper Koch entered the transfer portal after the release of Fran McCaffrey, but has now withdrew his name and is back with Iowa. In his statement, Koch mentioned his talk with McCollum and believes he will benefit under the new coach's run. Coach McCollum continues to push fans to encourage other key Iowa players in the portal to return next season, such as Price Sanford and Josh Dix. And speaking of key players, now former Hawkeye Peyton Sanford will have one last hurrah in the black and gold. Sanford will head to San Antonio, Texas to drain his final shots in the State Farm College Dunk and Three-Point Championships April 3rd at the Final Four. Sanford is the 7th Hawkeye to be invited to the event and will look to be the 3rd Iowa champion after Peter Jock and Jordan Bohannon. During his time at Iowa, the guard made 271 three-pointers, the 2nd most in program history with a total of 1,619 points. Those are all the latest updates on Iowa hoops, and now I'll lob it back over to Colin and Joel.
Well, there's that lob from Elise, and we'll slam this one home as we say thank you for tuning in to DITV Sports in the Zone. For Elise Gann, I'm Colin Carithers.
And for Cole Krieger, I'm Joel Keller. We'll be back next week, but until then, stay in the zone.